All right, we're trying really hard to get reconnected. Sorry, guys. We're going to stay live, and my phone's not going. Hey, sorry, guys. We had some internet problems. So we're going to give just about 30 to 45 seconds to let people hop back on. I apologize. I walked too far away from the Wi-Fi router and lost connection. So we're going to finish our portion on mangroves by talking about just some really take-home points on why we need to protect the mangroves and what those different aspects really entail. Allie very dutifully moving our entire setup over closer to the Wi-Fi router, and then we are going to move into our second Storm Strong activity. So we're going to call this a change of background because Virtual Science Saturday is always fun and full of surprises. So, Howard.
Always improvise.
Always improvise. So, what are our take-home messages about what we just learned from the storm surge model?
One, science is fun. So we always want to promote science. But definitely we want to be conscious or conscientious of our green infrastructure. So we want to make sure we protect our coastlines, protect the mangroves, protect the corals, all the seagrasses, and in a few months, hopefully, when we start having some more opportunities where we can invite the public, we do mangrove planting, so that's one way in which you can volunteer.
I think another thing to mention too is that when NOAA took a look at all their data about what things cause the most damage, right, the most money to repair, storm surge really was that number one thing. And we here are lucky enough to have all these natural systems in place that are there to protect us from storm surge. And unfortunately, when you look at the history of these systems across our island, you can see that they've been degraded, they've been lost in some areas. One example of that on St. Thomas we were talking about earlier is Long Bay. So that whole area on the waterfront over by Haven site, that all used to be a mangrove area, right? And since then we've lost all those protections.
So I think that's a really important part to point out because I remember last year when we had Hurricane Dorian come through. It was a very weak storm. I think it was a Category 1 when it passed over us, but we had a lot of flooding downtown. And I saw on Facebook a lot of people a little bit confused about why there wasn't as much rain as you would expect to see that much flooding, and the storm wasn't very strong. But the storm surge from that storm was really incredible and did a lot of damage downtown. We had flooding all the way to Back Street, if not further. So I think it's important for people to remember that there are a lot of different aspects to the storm. And Allie, as you said, with NOAA showing that storm surge causes a lot more damage monetarily than other portions of a hurricane is really important to remember. So I'm glad you brought up Long Bay especially, because losing that entire mangrove system on our waterfront has drastically changed what downtown Charlotte Amalie looks like. And I'm sure there are lots of examples throughout the entire Caribbean and even in the coastal United States where we're changing things and maybe don't necessarily realize the long-term effects of that.
Right, and I think what that means for us is that going forward, we really need to put a lot of effort into conserving the systems that we have left.
Exactly.
Couldn't say that any better.
All right, so I think that wraps up our first activity, the storm surge activity. So the next activity we're going to get into is actually a little bit of a teaser for you guys. So if you'll remember, we mentioned at the beginning of this little Science Saturday that there are some online activities that our program has developed that you guys can do. And there you go, I guess I have this page up. And those are all available on our website. So that is, let's see.
USVIStormstrong.org.
Yes, so you guys can visit that website. We have a remote learning little tab right at the top corner. You can click on that, and there are all these online activities that you guys can do at home that can help prepare you for a storm. And one of those activities is hurricane preparedness drawing contest. And what Howard and I are going to be doing is actually having a little contest of ourselves participating in this drawing contest. So
So we have a question from the audience, and maybe you guys can incorporate this into your drawing if you didn't already have something planned. Joseph would like to know, what can we do about places like Long Bay that are already developed? So what kind of storm protection can we do in already developed areas?
So I can take a stab at this. So one
Are you going to say it or draw it?
well, I think I'm going to say it because the drawing contest kind of goes in a different direction from the storm
Okay.
surge. So one thing that we can do, and that you actually will see in some of their development, is you can have these like artificial ways to kind of break and mitigate storm surge or even just higher wave action. And so two things that I can think of off the top of my head are what's called seawalls. So these are direct, like concrete, usually like larger walls located along the shore, and you can see those are actually going up right now in front of the new road construction. There we have these raised up walls, and those are meant to kind of act in kind of a similar way to the mangroves, but they're these man-made walls. And then another way is with what's called riprap. And so this is maybe looks like what an actual riprap area would look like. And this is also located in Long Bay along the waterfront. They're larger boulders kind of piled against the shoreline. And they act in a similar way to kind of those coral reefs or seagrass systems, essentially just breaking up the wave energy as it's coming in.
Yeah, you hit on some really good points there, Allie. So it would be a little bit difficult and challenging to try and replant mangroves in that area. A lot of that coastline has been completely altered. So there really is no stable shoreline to really plant for the roots to really dig into and grow at that area. So using some sort of artificial structure, like Ali mentioned, is a really good way. And that ties back into one of those online activities. So there's actually a game that you can participate in. It's an online game, and it gives you a set of money, and you have to prepare a community for a natural disaster like a hurricane. And one of the things that you can use, or you can use your money for, is to build those types of seawalls to help protect that community from the hurricane. I don't remember what my high score is, but try and beat it.
Okay, so now we're going to delve into one of our online activities, the drawing activity. So if you go onto our website, you'll see the instructions for these, and we're going to try to follow those instructions ourselves as we do this. So essentially, what we're asking you to do is to draw a picture that shows how you, your family, or our community here in the USVI prepares for a hurricane. And that's kind of broad, but we're hoping that you guys will take this in whatever direction you think it would be a fun thing to draw. So you can draw how you're stocking up on hurricane supplies, or trimming trees in your yard, or helping your neighbors put on their hurricane shutters, or collecting and distributing sandbags. There's so many different things that you can do with this. And I want to share one example that came in. This is from Shane Berry, age 8. And the next instruction from our competition is, after you do your drawing, like this lovely drawing that Shane did, we want you to write a one-sentence caption that explains what's going on in your drawing. So Shane here sent in his lovely picture, and he wrote, "Before a storm, my family prepares our house, boat, and vehicles. In my picture, you will see my boat turned upside down with straps that are bolted onto the ground. We secure our house with shutters and sandbags. We also pick fruits from our trees and share them with our neighbors." So this is a lovely example of how somebody drew their hurricane preparedness drawing and shared it with our team. So we really want you guys to start thinking about the ways that you prepare, and you can do it in this creative way. So Howard and I are going to have our own little hurricane preparedness drawing competition, and we want you guys to be the judge of who does the better drawing. So I think we should give ourselves maybe like 10 minutes? 15 minutes?
That's a long time.
Too long? Okay.
Too long. How about 2 minutes? 2 minutes.
Oh,
I don't have a
I
timer.
totally didn't
pressure.
prepare beforehand. This is
He's
all.
lying.
yeah.
He told me on the drawing team he practiced yesterday night.
Oh, the
I'm gonna
lies.
sit down because I need a
Okay,
better
we're going to watch you guys a little bit, and the phone's overheating, so we're going to take a walk through the garden.
Okay.
And so, I don't have a timer. Howard, are you timing?
Sure, I can time.
Okay. I would like to take a moment and look at your beautiful coloring.
colored
Your
pencils?
colored pencils kit is beautiful.
Thank you.
Science is so much fun. This is important for science.
Yeah.
So for clarification, I'm a scientist, not an artist. So do not
Same.
expect amazing works of art.
Same.
Stick figures are what I do best.
Okay. All right, guys. On your mark, get set.
This is so much pressure.
While they're going, I want to talk about another part of storm preparation, which is get your garden ready, which happens to be in the shade, which is where I'm going to hide my phone. Maybe we can set this up so we can see them in the background. There are contestants dutifully drawing. Look at them go. They have 2 minutes to draw their hurricane preparation as I hide in the garden, in the herbs, watching them. I'd like to take a moment to say thank you to everybody who's watching and who came back on after I lost service and overheated my phone. That is very much appreciated. Joseph, I hope that you are drawing yourself restoring reefs to prepare for hurricane season, since that's your comment. The battle is on. The scientists are busily scribbling away. We have an upset. Allie thinks Howard's is better. I think we should go check. It's all right. We'll clean up my yard when you guys are done. Let's check in on the contestants.
It's just paper debris.
We have a
How much
house,
time do we have
and we
left?
have trees. Oh, and we have an animal. Allie, is there a plant growing in your dog?
No, he's helping me. I'll explain it later.
Okay, got it.
I'll explain it later. Are we running out of time?
8 seconds.
Oh my gosh.
All right, we're going to go into bonus round while I hide in the shade. You guys can have 30 more seconds after the 8.
Thank goodness.
Let's count them down. 30, 29. This is horrible TV. I won't count it down. Sorry, guys. That's what a hurricane's like. All right, we're coming back in. Let's see what you guys did. You can keep drawing while we talk. How about that?
Okay,
Oh,
that might
I'm not
probably
very
be
good
better.
at multitasking. No, I think we both should stop. Unless Howard's explaining first, in which case I'm all for this.
Yes, I can explain. So mine is pretty simple and straightforward. So this is my wonderful home. The one thing that we really emphasize on, at least at home, is we put up shutters. So we want to be able to protect our windows from any flying debris. So that's another thing that I probably should have drawn in here. So around your home, you want to make sure any loose debris that's outside, you pick that up, you bring it inside, put it in the shed, so it doesn't end up being, oh, a bee.
It's fine. It's fine.
Sorry.
We handled that really well, guys.
Ah. I love these. And then, yeah, so you make sure we put all of our debris that's outside and we bring that indoors. But then also we have large trees around our property, so we want to make sure that we trim those trees so that if by some chance they happen to fall, they don't fall on our house. And actually that's something that did happen during Irma. Luckily the tree fell in the opposite direction, so we were okay. Then if you have any pets, you want to make sure you secure your pets. So our pet, she lives inside, so we don't necessarily have to worry too much about her being outside, but if you have a pet that's outside, you want to make sure you bring him or her inside so that they're not outside.
Please don't leave your pets
Subjected
outside.
to hurricane conditions.
All right, beautiful. Let's give a round of applause for Howard, and let's look at the weather. We've got rain, big raindrops, and
hail.
sun. Maybe we're coming into the eye of the storm.
Yeah.
You guys are out there watching the eye come. All right, excellent job. Thanks so much. All right, Allie, this is it.
I'm ready. Okay, so I'd like to first mention that I used a lot of color.
Oh.
So my drawing is already looking very nice. Howard, you had the same tools I did. Just saying. Okay, so
Pandering to the crowd. Let's see who wins.
okay, so here you can see this is me, and I am working on bringing all of my outside plants into my house. And this is my lovely dog Cooper. Shout out to Cooper. You're my fave. And he is helping me carry my plants inside because he's very helpful like that. So one thing that we've been trying to do leading up to this storm season is we're trying to shift over our home garden into more things that we can eat and consume and use at home. So that in itself is one way that we're preparing for hurricane season here, so that we have more reliable resources that we can use even after a storm. So that's the top part of this picture. This is my home sweet home. And then down on the bottom you can see some other ways that we're preparing. This is Lewis, my boyfriend, and he is going out and he's getting some non-perishable food items located in these reusable grocery bags that he's bringing into our house to keep us stocked up. He's also getting some water in a 5-gallon water jug that we can keep in our house. And you can see he got us some sandbags, probably from Howard and his wonderful new glass crushing enterprise that we'll probably talk about in the next Science Saturday. So we use those to kind of prevent flooding coming in around our doors and our windows. And then this is a pile of hurricane shutters that we haven't yet, but we pulled out so we can put them on our windows and on our glass doors. And then lastly, I have this little pile. This is the unfinished part. This is stuff that we trimmed or picked up around our house, loose plant debris and other things to get ready. And you'll notice that it's still sunny and nice out because we're preparing in advance outside for when it's looking like it's about to get bad. We make sure we're ready.
Howard, do you have a response to this?
You punched me in the gut, Allie.
Oh.
That's what that was.
Oh, I didn't mean to. Your drawing is lovely.
The competition is getting hot. All right, guys. Well, I would like to point out that I did not do a drawing, but I do have some lemongrass behind us here. So I'm getting ready to make some tea. And one orange. We're ready for hurricane season.
Oh, yeah. So I think a couple other things we can mention about this too. Once you guys do these drawings, you can send them in to us. So you can email them to our email, usvistormstrong@gmail.com. And all of this information and the instructions are up on our website, which is
usvistormstrong.org.
Thank you, Howard. And then we then will submit your drawings into our drawing contest competition. And so one thing that you can receive by doing any of these online activities is we have some prizes that are available to you for doing them. So these are all going to be prizes that are geared towards hurricane preparedness. So they're things that you and your family can use in your hurricane preparedness kit. So we have some cool things like a solar charger that you can use to charge anything with a USB, output after a storm. We have some little coolers you can use for medication or for smaller food things. We have
5-gallon buckets. So if you have a cistern and you want to haul water out of your cistern, you can do that pretty easily. You can probably use buckets for other things too. We do have, things that you probably don't think of as a necessity. I think we bought tire plugs.
Yeah, we did.
Flats,
Tire plug kits if you get a flat tire
Oh.
after a storm and you don't have a way to easily get somewhere to get help with that. We also have first aid kits. Lots of
Very
other
important.
things. So anybody who completes any of these activities, and you'll see all these rules online, if you submit proof of completion of them, you automatically enter into our lottery to get these prizes.
So we have another question from the audience, harking to your amazing, beautiful drawings, talking about preparing for your hurricane preparedness garden. What kind of plants do you think would be good? Oop, I just lost control of the camera. We're looking at the ground. Sorry, guys. What kind of plants do you think are good for us to be growing to prepare for the storm season or just general sustainability?
So in my garden right now, I have lemongrass, so that's really good for making tea afterwards.
Oh, we didn't lose him. Okay, I don't know if we're still alive or not, but guys, thanks to our amazing Storm Strong volunteers. I think I lost a bunch of you in my last phone outage because it's about 100 degrees today, even all the way up here on the mountain. So we're going to assume that everybody loved both of your pictures equally, and it was a tie. However, I think that we are going to take pictures of both of them and put them on the Storm Strong Facebook page, which is USVI Storm Strong.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good. And we'll have the drawings up there for you to vote on or just shower with love and appreciation for our scientist
And
artists.
use them as inspiration. To
Yes,
your own drawings.
absolutely.
See what you guys come up with, and you don't have to have a 2-minute, very stressful time frame like we did. You can take as much time as you want to create a beautiful hurricane preparedness drawing.
All right, guys.
Was that question still open from the audience?
What was the question?
What plants do we
Oh.
have in our garden?
What are so we stopped off in the middle of good hurricane plants. So
So I'll just name off a couple. So lemongrass, tomatoes, though they need a lot of water, but it's their name, so you can collect water. I have peppers. Peppers are really easy to grow. It's just the aphids like them a lot. So just making sure.
I have a lot of peppers too.
Can't think of anything else that's super hardy. Herbs that you can make teas from. Those are really, really good.
I think pumpkins.
Pumpkins. Yeah.
Pumpkins feed a pretty large group of people if you have a good sized one. All right.
Yeah, so one thing I would add to that too is that you want to keep in mind you don't want to grow things that you don't want to eat, right? So you should grow things that you're excited about eating and that you like. But another thing that we try to do is grow things that have a quick turnaround time. So things that you can plant and harvest in a relatively short time.
Radishes.
So radishes are a great one. We love any type of lettuce that grows super fast, and it's really easy to use in lots of different ways. Another good one we've been doing are green beans. Those you can harvest in almost a month if you're growing them in a sunny enough spot.
I have flowers now for my green beans.
Oh, they're
I'm
so cute.
excited.
I love green bean flowers.
But this is actually really good that question, it almost feels like it was staged somewhat. But we do have another activity, a cookbook. So we do have a cookbook, and so some of the things that you grow in your garden, you can actually include in this cookbook. So what we're doing is we have a cookbook that we're trying to put together. It's called One Pot, One Territory, Easy Recipes for Hard Times Community Cookbook. So we want your recipes that you use during a hurricane or any other natural vegetables, any kind of recipe. And we think we have stuff for desserts. We have breakfast, lunch, dinner, beverages. So send us your recipes and we'll try to include those in our cookbook. I believe we may have a celebrity chef being able to actually cook one of those recipes live, so you guys can see what one of those recipes looks like.
Yeah, really exciting. We're hoping to get voices from all across in our cookbook, and hopefully that'll be coming out sometime soon, and you'll hear it. I think the call for recipes is open until August 1st, I believe. But you can find all I want you to submit in your recipe and how to submit your recipe on our program website. It's going to be located underneath the community tab at the top of the website. And another thing I want to plug when you are looking at that community tab is this cookbook is actually a project that came out of our hurricane preparedness workshops last year. So we challenged all of our participants to come up with community-focused projects to help their community get ready for a storm in different ways. So this awesome cookbook is actually an idea that came from some of our past participants. And you'll also notice on our community tab on our website, we're featuring some of the other awesome projects that our Storm Strong program graduates have done. And you can read in the news tab on our website, there's a blog post that highlights all of the awesome work that we've done. So all
A
kinds of
beautiful
things
blog
you guys
post.
can check
Very
out.
well written.
Yeah, so we hope that you'll take some time and look at it and maybe do some of these activities yourself.
Howard, say hi. Just wave. Hey,
Hi.
Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
All right. Well, guys, Sarah, sorry you caught us at the end, but be sure to watch both videos from the beginning because I had epic phone failure. But thank you to everyone for joining us today for our third virtual Science Saturday. Next month, we're going to be talking about marine debris, and we're not going to be in my yard. All right, guys, have a wonderful weekend.